We've long treated our medical fate like an inescapable lottery. The traditional view says you inherit a fixed sequence of DNA, and that blueprint determines exactly when you thrive or when your health begins to fail. But historical data shows biology can pivot much faster than evolution allows. Descendants of the 1959 Chinese famine never experienced starvation themselves, yet they inherited nearly double the risk of adult diabetes compared to those born just a few years earlier. This same metabolic vulnerability appeared in the modern descendants of Victorian-era South Asian colonial famines. Their ancestors' bodies adapted to extreme scarcity, leaving a biological imprint that still triggers heart disease and insulin resistance in their great-grandchildren today. Genetic mutations take thousands of years to take hold. These shifts happened in one. It proves that an entirely different mechanism is capable of overriding the underlying genome. This is the epigenome, a biological layer sitting directly above your DNA that uses chemical tags to dictate how the genetic code actually functions. Think of your DNA as a physical instrument, a grand piano that stays the same for life. The epigenome is the performer. It chooses which notes to strike and which to leave silent, meaning the same set of strings can play a completely different biological tune. We aren't helpless observers of our code. We are active participants in a real-time biological dialogue. This dialogue relies on DNA methylation. It works like a physical dimmer switch wired directly into the strand. Health-protecting genes can be dialed up to full power, while genes that trigger chronic inflammation can be forced to go dark. Our daily environment provides the signal for these switches. The nutrients we digest act as instructions. For instance, dietary inputs interact with genes like FTO to physically alter how your body processes and stores fat. Researcher Richard J. Davidson's work at UW-Madison proved that even non-physical inputs have a signature. His study showed that 8 hours of intensive mindfulness meditation successfully downregulated inflammatory genes like COX-2 in real time. Every single meal, every daily workout, and the way we process stress serves as a chemical instruction manual that rewrites how our cells behave. Scientists now track this through the epigenetic clock. On the left, chronological age is fixed. On the right, biological age measures cellular health. Interventions like caloric restriction and exercise are clinically shown to move this metric. The cellular aging process can be slowed, stopped, or driven backward. Aging is not a rigid timeline. It is a fluid, reversible state. These choices carry weight beyond our own health. A father's preconception lifestyle, his diet, his stress levels, even his history with tobacco, creates chemical tags that survive on the sperm. These environmental markers directly transfer altered risks for metabolic disease into the developing embryo before it has even formed. But the epigenome is inherently plastic. The biological memory of past trauma and poor habits can be broken by the choices we make today. Your DNA is a starting point, not a verdict. By mastering these chemical switches, you rewrite your own biological narrative and determine the genetic baseline for every generation that follows.